We do it more complicated than we need to, really, but.
I have to tape.
So we'll probably go for like an hour, maybe, if
whatever.
if we can. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Internet's
I told my
looking.
son, bring your DS.
Good.
All right.
Just in case.
What's that?
I said, just in case.
Yes.
It's like a Game Boy.
Oh, okay.
It's like the updated version of the Game Boy, I would say.
I don't even know. That's how out of touch I am with that.
Yeah, the stream seems to be working for once.
That's good.
Yeah, the last like 2 weeks in a row, it's been a real pain. 3 weeks in a row. Do I have the Ethernet hooked up? Yeah, it's just no longer my fault. Okay.
Sasquatch is in the middle. Love that.
Sasquatch?
Right
Oh. Yeah. It's a little inappropriate, that Sasquatch, but somebody has a 3D printer someplace.
You never have to witness a Sasquatch like that.
Yeah, exactly.
You're in trouble if you see a Sasquatch like
I'll
that.
be running for my life.
It's probably more that you have to worry about that than Graham.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
Okay. I think we're ready to roll. We're live.
Live. All right. All right. Oh.
Start over. Okay, now go.
All right. We've got a special episode tonight in studio. We've got Ashley Veenstra with us. It's a rare opportunity, so it's nice to have you here. She is a farm girl who spent like 13 years in the fitness industry, and now she's interested in Sasquatch. That's what we're going to be talking about a little bit. Tonight, she does expeditions in the wild, tracking and outdoors type thing locally, kind of around the Rockies, I guess you could say. So welcome to the studio. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You have to get right up in the mic there.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So I think we should start probably, and I mean, just how, like you said before we started recording, like, you know, you've been in the fitness industry for like 13 years, and then you're leading these expeditions in the wild. You just went on one recently.
Yeah.
And I mean, we have the mountains in our back door, like an hour away. We have these things. So you spend a lot of time in the mountains, and maybe how you got interested in like that whole shift from fitness to that.
Yeah, I spent most of my life pretty much on the outdoors, just being raised on a farm, just north of Airdrie with horses and pretty much everything you think of. However, I got into the fitness industry right after I graduated. So fitness shows, after I had my son Caden, he was 2 years old, and started training very competitively for fitness. So 13 years I've been running my business as well as managing gyms and just doing competitive shows. So I've done 8 fitness shows now. I'm a pro and I do worlds.
Wow.
So just recently I've kind of been asked, I've been doing more media work. So I've been asked to do some tracking out in the wild. So that's kind of what started this whole expedition. Is I was fit, I was strong, I was good with media, and the outdoors. So there was some auditions, obviously, and to see if I could make or break some of these hikes. They're pretty intense hikes we go on. And I mean, you're spending like a week out in the middle of nowhere with no cell phone service and just in a trailer, fire, like the old camping ways, right? Yeah. No electricity. So, I mean, there's not a lot of girls, I think, that would do that. However, they made sure that, Todd made sure applying for this, that I was okay with that. So that's what started the tracking. So we were out in the back and tracking area where there's Sasquatch, and that's what kind of started my whole journey with them.
Wow.
Yeah.
So were you interested before in that kind of stuff? Or
I've always been interested in anything, I mean, that's foreign that you want to learn about.
Yeah.
I watched numerous documentaries. That's kind of what I watch when I'm off. And Sasquatches has been something I have watched. And so I always say I never say I don't believe things, and I figured that out for myself and have my own opinions on it through watching and educating yourself.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my theory on any topic.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when I went out there, I wasn't expecting to have the results right away like I did have, but yeah, I witnessed the Sasquatch within hours of me even being on the expedition, my very first one. Yeah.
Really? Wow. I didn't tell this is awesome.
How long ago was that?
So that was June.
June of this year?
Yeah.
So you go from like nothing to
Wow, that's
Sasquatch
just
sighting.
June
like
this
Yeah.
year.
a few
Even
months
wow,
ago.
that's
Yeah.
crazy.
It
What-
was actually my first sighting when I first got there. Was probably the most incredible one.
Wow, because
Yeah.
when did somebody handed me your card,
Yeah.
and that geez, that doesn't
I
even
hear.
seem like, it must have been close to that time even. Like maybe it was
It
even
was,
July or August or
So I was, it was in May. I
wow,
went,
yeah,
or no, it was June. Yeah, it was June.
yeah.
Because I was in the hair salon that
Yeah.
exact month, and then you contacted me
Yeah.
July.
Oh wow,
So, which was funny because I had that sighting then, and it's just been
everything's just
continuous since then. However, so you gave me a call, I think the middle of July, and
Yeah.
around that then.
So that was
about a
it was
month
all pretty
later.
fresh still. Wow,
Yeah, so my relationship has definitely
yeah,
grown since
Yeah.
then with the Sasquatch.
yeah.
But yeah, my first sighting was pretty incredible. I mean, I was pretty freaked out, obviously,
Really,
the first time I had to witness the Sasquatch.
yeah,
But it was pretty magical.
yeah.
Yeah,
So was it
Yeah.
was it literally scary or was it just
It was
more
scary.
exciting? Yeah, it was
it's
scary.
scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're very spiritual beings. So if you're really a spiritual person, I mean, really in tune with your emotions and your energies, you'll feel.
Yeah.
You'll feel a different kind of, I mean, not just big, scary, black beasts, It's a whole other realm of
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you want to maybe get into that a little bit
can
then?
you take us through it?
Yeah. So when I got up there, Todd and I had done a few just expeditions around the lower mainland. So that was, around Banff area as well as Golden. Just doing some tracking. We were, trying to preparing me for up in Radium. So I got there the first night, and the trailer was already set up there. So Todd went and met me down halfway in the mountain, and we drove up. When we first got there, we started a fire. So we were just, standing around the fire, and Todd was kind of telling some stories about some of his expeditions. And when he was talking, I could hear the fire crackling. I could hear him talking. And then I could hear like this howling noise. And I thought it was wolves howling. So I just had to stop him. I'm like, I'm sorry, but do you hear that? I said to Todd, like, there's something like howling. And here I am a little bit already freaked out that we're in the middle of, like, I'm talking in the middle of nowhere.
Well, with a bunch of people you just met too. I mean, there's probably a
It's
bit
only
of
me and
weirdness
Todd.
there.
Oh,
it's just the two of
It's
you.
only me and Todd
Yeah.
up there, yeah. We were only up there for 2 nights just to see how I'd do up there,
Yeah.
right? And we had a TV show coming, I think 3 weeks from then.
Yeah.
So we had to set up our camp and everything, right? So we're kind of preparing for that. However, we're up there, and I'm hearing this howling going on, and I'm like, okay, this must be a bunch of wolves. Like, I don't know what's up here. So, hear this howling, and it's like the howl sounded in between, like a gorilla call and like straight wolves howling.
Was it like that whoop whoop, like that typical Sasquatch kind of whoop,
It was
or
like the whooping with an actual howl.
right?
But there was one howl on one side of the mountain. We've named the mountains now. It's one Spirit Mountain we've called, and the other mountain we call Sasquatch Mountain. And so there was a large male on the one, and he was higher up, and the other he was calling down to the other mountain, which was lower down. And I said it either sounded like a female or a young male or something, is what we figured out in the end. But it was pretty weird. It was going on for for a while, like 10-15 minutes, the howling
Wow.
back and forth. So I was more freaked out of bears and cougars and everything's up there.
Yeah.
However, I'm just like, oh dear, what am I getting myself into here?
Yeah.
Like, now we have Sasquatch calling out.
Because you could tell that it wasn't wolves. Like you could tell that it wasn't.
Yeah, like like I said, it was sounding between a gorilla and a wolf.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh, and Todd says, oh, Todd's so experienced in Sasquatch. So he's heard that before. He says, oh, that's a Sasquatch call. I'm like, oh, wonderful. They know I'm here now.
Yeah.
So he says that it was the first time he's come out this summer. So he thinks that they were calling, letting them know that Todd's there.
Yeah.
Right. So, and it was pretty cold still. Like it was the middle of June.
Yeah.
It was freezing.
Yeah.
So, so that's what he thinks, that they were just calling, just saying, hey, there's people here and announcing that. So I got kind of freaked out about that. But then I decided to go to bed. So we went to bed about an hour later probably. And I slept in the back of the trailer. So it's kind of important to know where we sleep in the trailer, because that's the whole summer they're kind of around the trailer a lot. So the back, we have 2 bunk beds in the back, and there's the windows in the beds. So the Sasquatch were continuously around the back of that trailer. And we have dents in the trailer. We have handprints we've had left on the trailer. Like, they're just around that trailer a lot when we're sleeping. Todd sleeps in the front of the trailer, and there's windows around that side of the trailer as well. So there's no curtains on the windows. So it's pretty much open for them just to literally peek inside and see us. So yeah, so that's the other freaky thing too. Yes, and it's an older trailer, right? So we're in the trailer, and I'm going to bed on the bottom bunk. And when I first noticed that my energy was really restless, I couldn't like just sleep.
Yeah.
So that was kind of weird to me. But I just thought, oh, maybe I'm tired or whatever, having troubles resting my head. However, the Sasquatch, I did go to sleep, and the Sasquatch, which I figured out later on because I'd never seen one in my life, but Todd had told me how big that they can be the next day, was around the back of the trailer. So I was sleeping and made a yipping call. He went, ee, and then he popped around the side of the trailer, and immediately I just woke up. And then I just looked in my window, and there was just like, boop, there was just this little face of a Sasquatch.
No way.
Yeah. And so Todd had to explain to me like that their heads can be long, their heads can be round. It depends on the age, how tall they can be. So he kind of educated me on that. However, he was out sleeping because he had a cold, so he took some cough medicine. So I'm screaming in the trailer like, Todd, like, what the hell is in my freaking window here, right? So I'm freaked out. I was underneath the blankets, so I went to go click my flashlight. When I clicked my flashlight, I seen the thing looking in the trailer, and then it was like moved its heads from looking at my hand and me. Like you could see him staring here to just staring here now.
You look for it because you moved your hand, and he went to the, wow.
Yeah, and so I'm like, holy shit! Like I don't know if this thing's gonna like blow through this window. Like I don't know what it's gonna do.
Yeah.
So I just freaked out and just sat there. When I sat there under my sleeping bag, I was kind of pulling my sleeping bag over my face, and my heart was like pounding through my chest. Like I was like, biggest adrenaline rush that you would get. It was like that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the adrenaline, when I just realized it was just standing there, just kind of went down. And I'm just like, I think this thing's just like, it's just staring there. It's going to do nothing. So he literally sat there for like a minute or two.
Yeah.
And just stared in the trailer.
Wow.
Yeah. And then he was just gone. And then I had a feeling it was going to go look in Todd's window too. So it was so funny. The next day when Todd got up, I was like yelling at him to not go out of the trailer because there's going to be footprints, there's going to be handprints, there's going to be something out there that I didn't want him to walk through. So he didn't believe me when I first told him that a Sasquatch popped in my window. He's like looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, no, I'm literally telling you, I seen a Sasquatch, which I think is a Sasquatch, in my window.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, because I'm thinking like a bear would be scratching at the window, a bear would be walking around the camp, like sniffing for food, like what would just stand and stare in the window
for a minute or two. Yeah, and you can tell the
Right?
face,
Like-
like the face. It wasn't like an animal face,
yeah,
right?
and like just like it's like they're like beings, right? Like people tried to say that they're like animals or whatever
Like
primates
yeah.
primates is
Yeah.
a big one that people
Yeah.
talk about and relate them to, and they're nothing of that kind. They're absolutely beings.
Yeah.
And I think that's what also calmed me when it was in the window, was I was kind of like, okay, this is like they're more like humans.
Yeah.
Right? They like for it to be staring through the window and then all of a sudden staring at me. A bear would just be clobbering at the window,
Yeah.
right? Or whatever bears would do, sniffing around the trailer, and
Yeah.
you
And that's what you
so-
hear with people that are trying to shoot it or about to shoot it. And they look
Yeah.
at the thing in the eye and they realize like it's not a monster. It's more human
It's
than
more human,
than
yeah.
animal kind of thing.
and that's exactly
and then they
it.
can't even pull the trigger or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've heard those stories too, and
Yeah.
like it just has this like connection where it's more like us. So
Yeah.
I think that's where my adrenaline, if it was a bear, my adrenaline would have stayed high,
Yeah.
right? Because it's like, okay, what the heck is this thing doing around my window?
Yeah.
Right? However, my adrenaline went up all the way and then just kind of just calmed all of a
Yeah.
sudden. It was kind of a strange, like, first energy bumping.
Yeah.
So that happened the first night. So when we went out of the trailer the next day, Todd said, "Holy crap, there's handprints on the trailer. There's Sasquatch. We found a Sasquatch footprint. We found handprints on the trailer. These big, massive handprints on both windows, like it was peeking in."
Do you think it
And
woke you up with the yippee? Like, do you think it meant to like go by and kind of yip and wake you up and then?
Yeah, and so this is something that continuously was happening, and the fact that it woke me up the first night, I think that they test boundaries on your intelligence and your intuition with the species, because some people would be dead dog asleep. Like, I'm telling you, a lot of nights, he's a pretty heavy sleeper. He sleeps through some of this stuff. I'm like, how can't you hear some of this stuff that goes out there? And he claims I have really good hearing. And I'm like, I don't even know. These things are loud as heck sometimes, right? When they run. And so I think it's just, they just test your intuition too, right? With like, can they hear this? Can they hear this? Because they're trying to be sneaky around you.
Yeah.
But they also like to test you on what you can hear, what you can feel, what, you seem to be more connected to people that are spiritual. So that whole area goes a long way too. But that was the first night. So Todd said, like, it's pretty special to see a Sasquatch coming out your first night. Like, some people look their whole life, research these guys, and they don't.
Yeah,
they
that's
don't
amazing,
ever encounter one.
Yeah, I didn't even realize,
So-
actually, before we even got you on the show, I didn't even realize that you had that first sighting. So it's
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Jason. Like,
Yeah.
Jason goes out and with the trailer, he's had them around the trailer, like pushing the trailer back and forth and and doing some crazy shit to the trailer. And he heard things inside the trailer even. Like, it was crazy.
So that's probably them not wanting him there on their land.
Wow.
Yeah.
Get lost, Jay. You're causing problems.
He's not going to want to hear that.
No,
is he?
give him some mushrooms. Throw some mushrooms out.
Yeah.
They'll come around.
Because they just feel like he's trespassing and then he's on their property.
Wow.
Yeah. So you have to be very, very grateful.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, like, they're also very sensitive. You hear lots of stories about it too. But even in my case, to females and children. And then people always said why, but it's, when they see men, like, there's a mining area around where we are, and logging area. So they see men ripping down forests. They see men mining and ripping down, their mountains, very destructive.
Yeah.
They're very hard, men are very big, strong men. And then you see females, they see females very delicate, caring, right, nurturing. So I think that they kind of have a different kind of connection to women and to males.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what did Todd think the next day when you guys got out and you started finding those handprints and the footprints?
We taped them up too. Yeah, we taped them up, and we put a bag over the footprint. But the footprints, like, they can be all different sizes.
Mm-hmm.
This one was a smaller one, so it was a young male.
Yeah.
And I mean, his head was rounder, so it's a young male. And his height, we were trying to figure out the height, but I mean, like, that window is so low.
Yeah,
so
they could be bending over or whatever.
crouching.
Yeah,
He kind of moved into the window, right? Or crouching, whatever. But later, I had another sighting where he was, and I mean, we have night monoculars, so I would watch them all the time in the summer and on the night monoculars in the trees. But the one that I think follows me around, we call him Chester. He's got a name. He's a brown Sasquatch.
That's awesome.
And we think he's like young. We don't really know the ages on them or anything like that, but he's shorter, he's smaller. We think he's 7 to 8 feet tall. I know they can get up to 10 feet tall or taller.
Yeah.
And they can be heavier, bigger builds, right? I mean, when they get bigger, their jaw lines build out, so their head kind of pops up more. When they're younger, they're rounder heads. So he's still in the in-between stages, right? Yeah. And I think that I have, like, a lot of energy, right? I'm pretty young at heart. When I'm hiking around the mountain, I'm pretty goofy. But I think they think I'm younger than I am. So Todd thinks that all the young ones are chasing me. and like, wonderful.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, that we think they're young males.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when you say looking through the binocular into the trees, do you mean like not up in the trees, but through the trees? Like you can see.
Yeah,
is
it
that
depends
like
where they are, like standing in the trees. They do climb trees. I've had them climb trees and stare into the trailer at me,
Wow.
sleeping. And when the sun comes up in the morning, I kind of set my alarm to a certain time so I can see them in the daylight. Like it's 6, 7 in the morning where you can physically see them outside the trailer.
Wow.
And I've seen Chester, the brown one, was in the tree, and like he's seen me see him, and
Really?
he hit the bottom.
Really?
Like when those guys go down trees,
Wow.
they're fast. Yeah. Yeah, and we tried to distance the tree. The tree was so far away. It was across the creek from our campsite, and the trees that we went over there, they were all bare, like no branches on them at all.
So they just hang out in the bare tree, like just hugging onto it or whatever?
Yeah, because the bottoms of their hands are like their feet.
Yeah.
Right? So they can just grip onto them.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and they just sit up there in a tree. Yeah. And I mean, with the binocular, we can see them doing it at nighttime. However, it's different when you see it during the daytime.
Yeah.
When the sun's coming up and you can see him physically there in the tree.
Wow.
It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
So when you guys have that camping spot there, like when you went to that one recently, I think is that where you went as well? Like I can't remember if it was September or whatever. It was when it started to snow there. I mean, probably the weather.
Yeah, it was actually really nice up top.
Really? Yeah.
And down below in the city in Radium, it was really cold.
Yeah.
Like way worse weather. But no, that was a good trip. It was really quiet up there. So the summer it gets all the hikers, right? And all the parks guys are up there, so it gets to be a little bit. They hide a little bit more,
right?
And so it's pretty crazy in the fall.
So you go up like when you do your expedition. So you've got your home. Is that like kind of your home base kind of thing, and then you do hikes from there?
Yeah, we go all over.
Yeah,
and we can camp all over too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's just the bears are pretty bad up there. Is our biggest concern. So we have to bring bear spray and all that. They're pretty good bears in that area, but I mean,
you never know. You
just takes one
like
bad apple.
Exactly.
One
and
bad egg.
like that one week I went, I seen 7 bears.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. 7 bears. Like some days were 2 bears a day.
Wow.
Right? And so I was like, oh my gosh.
Like grizzlies or brown or?
We seen every I seen one massive grizzly and he did charge at us.
Really?
Yeah. It was the scariest thing ever.
I'd like to get some Sasquatch fingerprints.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like it matches some liquor store robbery from back in the day.
So what happened when the bear chased you? Like
that was super crazy. So
did you zigzag like they say this?
No, we were actually walking down a trail and it went down to the creek. And then our trail was going out of the creek. The bear was on the other side of it was the river and a creek kind of collides the river and the creek there. And I was going to stop to fill up my water bottle. And something just keep going, right? If I would have stopped to fill up my water bottle, we would have been eye to eye with that bear down in the creek and he probably would have charged right at us.
Wow.
So the fact that I had higher ground because we were climbing out of that creek area, and we seen the grizzly bear, and we didn't even hear her. We didn't see her. And until she started pumping the ground and being like, she flew out of some trees, and we were just like, where did this bear come from? How didn't we see her?
Yeah.
Like we're in the most open area. And that was another reason why I tried to kind of scurry through there, was because it was an open area. And I thought, we'd see something coming down, but she was coming the opposite way as us. Yeah. So she popped out of these big trees. So she was, I keep saying she, but I think she was a female. She was just massive. And so she was coming down, and then we were climbing up. Like the timing was just in seconds, right? And she just started hitting the ground at us. And we just locked eyes at her, and I jumped, and Daniel jumped, and we're like, holy. And we just waved our hands, and she ran the other way.
Wow, thank God, yeah.
Yeah, and so we didn't even have to get anything else out to use. However, I was wondering if she was going to run around and start stalking us on the trail. I mean, it's like now we're 3 weeks away from them
Hibernation,
hibernating, and she's packing on weight. So I'm like, okay, well, let's get going now. Like,
wow. But see, it's interesting how you see 7 bears in Sasquatch, and you can tell the difference, right? I mean, it drives me nuts when people think, you know, even Rogan, like, oh, the bears, people can't. Come on, people can tell the difference between a bear and a Sasquatch.
Not all people.
Come on, everybody can.
Yeah, like Sasquatch are very tall. Like we see tons of black bears there.
Yeah.
And we always call them road bears. They're always on the road. I think the grizzlies push them out of the big mountains. But they're always along the road, running around, chasing the deer, whatever they're doing. But they're so skittish of people, they run. Yeah. As soon as they seen you, they run. The second you drive by them, they're already up the mountain, you know. They're very fast. And the Sasquatch, the difference between Sasquatch and bears is you can hear a Sasquatch coming from a mile away. A bear, they would sneak up right on you. Like that grizzly bear was huge, and we didn't hear it. We didn't see it. And he just popped out of those trees, you know? And even her, like, stomping the ground at us was like, you know, never want to piss off a Sasquatch.
Yeah. So
did they get mad? Do Sasquatches get mad?
They can get very mad, yes.
Do you think they fight with bears?
They would dominate bears.
Yeah?
Yeah, they're the alpha.
They might have, like, we'd have a pet dog. They might have a pet bear. Maybe they're getting the bear after you to get you out of there.
Yeah, the bears are definitely scared of them. The other thing is we do think that they follow us around the mountain. So something inside me was like, is there something behind me where the bear didn't chase me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
chase us.
Yeah.
Like, is there something behind
you guys
me?
are waving your hands. Meanwhile, the Sasquatch is going, stop it.
So that's another interesting thing that we'll never know, but they do follow us around the mountain. And you can hear them. You can hear them fumbling around, and they rock clack. They communicate with you, let us know, because I have obviously developed a friendship with them. So they rock clack, and
they knock trees and stuff too. Tree knocking.
They mostly rock clack, but yeah.
What did you guys hear when you went out that night?
I just scared a cow. I scared a cow. I accidentally separated the one cow away from the herd, and it went running off into the woods, and then it was just like...
No, I thought you heard a sound. You said you heard some weird sounds.
Well, I thought it was a twig snapping, but Jason gets excited. I love you, Jason. I love you, buddy, but you get a little excited out there. Because I heard just like a branch. And I was like, oh, what's that? Thinking like, maybe it's an animal or something, but...
well, which it probably is.
It probably is,
a twig snap.
Jay got, he texted me the next day. He's like, man, we should have just reflected on that and meditated on it a little bit. And I was like, I was mostly just enjoying the snow, and I heard a twig snap, and I was mostly thinking hey, I hope that's not a bear, because I got some mushrooms in me, and I don't know how fast I can run.
I don't know if we heard when we were staying in that cabin. No, it wasn't really a cabin. It was a cookhouse or whatever, in a camp spot. And I heard in the middle of the night, I heard some banging, like some pretty loud banging. But by the time you wake up and listening for it, then it wouldn't come again. And I was like, is that something? There's got to be something out there. But it's so hard to know when you just wake up from a sound,
But that's I don't know. Listen to your intuition.
Yeah.
That's the biggest lesson I learned this summer.
It's hard when you're scared shitless. What is that?
That's exactly it. It's a bear.
Yeah. So how do you learn so much about them then? From them directly? Do you get mind speak kind of thing? Or?
So the biggest thing, right? I was really scared for the first 2 months. I was almost gonna fold in this research stuff. It scared me so much.
Really?
Just because they were coming around so much, and then when I was sleeping, they were starting to tap into my energy, dreams.
Really?
And there was another expeditioner who had this nightmares. They try and scare you, and I don't know if it's they want you off the mountain, or I had contacted another lady who told me that they try to it's like ego. They try and drive your ego down and ground you more. I don't know, but anyways, I had a terrifying dream that a Sasquatch was dragging me through the top of my sleeping bag out of the trailer, and it felt extremely real.
Eesh.
Right? And I could feel the strength of it, and it was petrifying. So he had a dream that this is a whole other expedition, that the Sasquatch actually reached in and was grabbing him through the window and pulling him through the window.
Yeah.
I don't know like and I've heard of people having dreams after they see Sasquatches a lot. It's a common thing. However, my dreams started to get, like it started to revolve more about my life. So they're healers. So anything and I've been going through a really long, drawn out divorce. So there's been lots of healing going on this summer with me, and they're healers and teachers, and they're said to be top of the shamans, and I truly believe that now.
Wow.
So yeah, and there's a lot of things that have happened through my dreams where they show me things that that they know. Like I cut my finger one night by the fire, and then there was a dream where they were showing me a knife. Like they knew that I cut my finger. It was with my knife, my pocket knife. I was just cutting open a tea bag or something. I don't even know what it was, a soup or something like that. And I cut my finger pretty bad. And they had showed me that, they knew I cut my finger in the dream. It was really weird. There was a lot of like just weird things like that where I was just like, I don't understand why I'm having these dreams. And then they were just trying to make me more intuitive and ground you. Yeah, it was weird. So I think they were trying to get me to trust them, and we're not so scary, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of kind of different things going on that way. And then after I just got it out of my head that they weren't I really had a fear that they were gonna steal me.
Yeah.
Steal me from the site and take me to the top of the mountain. I've been told that they do that to females, but I don't believe it. They're really respectful beings. However, it took a few months for me to get that in my head, because there were such large beings that I was really petrified of that.
Yeah.
And then once I built that trust up, that idea was gone. Then it's been a little bit, I've been able to enjoy my time up there a bit better.
So it shifted from like the scary dreams of getting dragged out of the trailer to like healing and that's interesting.
And I don't know if they do that to defend themselves because they think people are going to hurt them, or what it is. Like I don't really know what those dreams are about.
Or it could be again testing boundaries and stuff. Maybe how you react to it.
How
maybe
committed
like
are you to being out here and getting to know us, right? And Daniel had the same dream as me. It was weird, and he was the one that returned back on that expedition with me on the end of September. And it was so.
It can probably sense your energy even, or read your thoughts. I mean, if you're out there in the woods and you're an intelligent being, and you're an intelligent being, like, and you don't have all this technology, all this distraction, and like you say, they're top of the shamans, and maybe they could just sense it all, right? And just tap right in, like you said.
Exactly, kind of like our psychics and shamans down here. Like, I believe we can all be like that if we practice. Yeah. And the lesson is they live out in the wild. They don't have fire. Yeah. They're surviving. They're this spiritual. We can be like that too. So I've learned a lot of spiritualism this summer.
Jeez, it's been a crash course in a lot of stuff for you over the last few months. Yeah,
just incredible amounts of work, and I've been up there. I just love it up there. It's like beautiful. It's heaven. I always say it's like just the most rivers and creeks, and like it's like the most beautiful place that you could be. That's where they live.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how are they also communicating like telepathically to you, or is it just through intuition and dreams and stuff? Like
I'm not very telepathic.
Yeah.
It's only dreams.
Yeah.
A lot of dreams. Yeah. I write a lot of them down and try and figure out what they mean, and a lot of them has been like, like just weird situations, like almost reliving it, and then just you're just closing the books on it and just in your past. It's been just a complete sense of healing for myself, and I think they're also trying to teach me. I'm supposed to also be a teacher, so it's different. Have
you experienced any lucid dreams with them at all? Like, have you ever had a lucid dream? Do you know what that is?
No.
Like if you're aware, like if you're in your dream, you're aware you're dreaming, you can start controlling it and all that. And it's helpful to write them all down, and like you can say, I am dreaming. Like you wake up inside your dream and say, I'm dreaming, and then you can do
Yeah.
whatever you want in there, really. I mean, or you can just go with it. I mean,
yeah, I know what you mean. These dreams feel a lot more vivid than my regular dreams.
yeah.
And I don't know if it's because I'm more connected to myself or what, but they feel more, I guess I just feel more present.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, maybe that is a lucid. I mean, I don't think lucid dreaming is always like people waking up in their dream and having to do something different. Like it could be just being more aware and just going with the dream. Like a lot of times
I think you just
if
have to
I'm
know
lucid,
you're dreaming.
Yeah, because some people are really
Technically.
good at but I think they're just more intuitive. Like my girlfriend's really spiritual and she's very aware in her dreams.
Yeah.
A lot of my dreams freak out when I see things.
Yeah.
Like that grizzly bear that was presented to me that day was my totem animal, like my spirit animal, and the Sasquatch I think were presenting it to me, which is a really strange thing. But I mean, I seen 6 bears and then I wasn't cluing into it, and then I seen the 7th bear and it charged at me and then ran away. It didn't show its teeth or anything. It just charged at me, and then I was like, that was just weird. And it was my biggest fear. I said it out in the wild that I would have was to run into a grizzly bear, and it happened the last week I was out there.
Yeah.
It also represents grizzly bear like being welcome into a big group or clan, and your spirit animal is also supposed to represent something that you're actually scared of.
Wow.
You overcome a lot of fears. So that was pretty much it for me. So I think there's a lot of lessons behind the grizzly bear totem for me. So that was really unusual.
What about the no fire thing? Like,
the no fire
that's
thing.
interesting.
Yeah.
We were kind of chatting about before we started recording.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if
Did you
I'm
know-
so spiritually dense that this is why I don't remember my dreams.
Yeah, because in your dreams, but then in my dream, that night I asked out loud what the grizzly bear meant, because it was just stuck. I was just stuck in my head, and I knew it was supposed to mean, like, I was like, where did that come from? Like, we didn't even see that bear. We see all the other bears like coming from some angle, and we're out hiking, and it's just dead quiet where we are. So it was just weird for me, and so I asked out loud, and then that night I had a dream about a grizzly bear and 2 cubs with her grazing in a meadow. So it was at peace, and I think I was supposed to be the female grizzly bear, and my son is obviously, one of the cubs.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm supposed to have another kid. Who knows?
Yeah. Interesting.
But I think that. But in my dream, I was actually scared. I was like, "Oh my God, there's a bear!" And Kaden was with me in that dream, which was the funny thing. And but yeah, like then I thought about it again. I'm like, I think that's my spirit animal. And they're trying to explain that to me, tell me, without me freaking out.
Well, maybe you got to lay off the weed a little bit. You'll dream more. They say that. I mean, if you take a week off and see what happens to your dream. Man.
This was my assumption that it was the weed, but now I'm wondering if it's a lack of spirituality. I think I'm pretty spiritual, though.
The other thing
Kinda.
Like the other thing
you've changed quite a bit in the
was,
last couple of years, really. But
it's hard to be spiritual in the city because we're surrounded by so much. We call it the concrete jungle out here, right?
yeah.
Like out there I'm surrounded by the 4 elements, and the 4 elements is something that's supposed to be you're supposed to be more intuitive, more spiritual, more grounded. So we're right by the creek, which is water, wind, fire, air, and right. So it's like that's supposed to really represent something, and it's so.
But yet, for Sasquatch, fire is.
It's sun.
They rejected it, right?
Sun.
Oh, yeah,
sun.
sun, yeah.
Because we're in the sun all day.
Yeah.
But I do stand around the fire at nighttime every night, and they're in the trees around me. So they're not necessarily by the fire, but they're around in the trees. But they,
did you say something like they rejected it though?
They don't use fire.
Yeah.
And they're told not to go. Like I've been told by others that they're not supposed to go close to fire.
Right.
People that also know Sasquatch. And it's forbidden.
Right.
I mean, once we the natives
know this, right? They know that the Sasquatch, but the natives went with fire, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, it's because we don't want Sasquatch roaming around snatching up our women. That's it.
Well, they like the dark-haired, dark-eyed girls.
That's right. This is the Don't we all?
Yeah. So, but no, like, as soon as the natives say they accepted fire, right? They were told there was going to be consequences to that. And like, we now have technology, you know, I mean, it wasn't just survival. We're not just surviving anymore.
Yeah.
We've come to the point where technology's just
taken over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Sasquatch didn't accept fire, and they are out there, surviving still.
Yeah.
And they're more intuitive than us. They're more spiritual. Yeah. There's things that they can do that we should be able to do, I feel like.
Like pop in and out of dimensions? Or?
I don't know if they can do that. But who knows?
Supposedly. I mean, you know, people see them disappear right in front of them all the time. And there's all those stories of, you know, you never know. People that try and shoot them. And I mean, I don't know, maybe there's a biolocation type thing. I mean, you heard the monks and stuff done it. If they've meditated enough, there's humans that apparently can do stuff like that, you know.
I've read
with
an
work,
article that they're connected with the star beings. So, I mean, if you're spiritual, I feel like we could be connected with the star beings.
Yeah.
I feel like, like technology is the only thing that's dividing us to be this spiritual.
Yeah.
It's just a distraction from what we can do.
Yeah, it seems like it.
It's definitely a distraction. It's
because we have no technology working out there. When we have our cameras around our necks, the Sasquatch are very quiet in the trees. When we have our cameras off by the fire at night and it's dark, I mean, they're just wild around us.
Wow.
So we can hear them, see them in night vision binoculars, and it's different. And I was always so boggled, like, why can't I see them during the day? They've got to be around. And it was the cameras. They can feel the vibration of the camera, the technology, and they just stay away because they know it's bad.
That explains why they probably sense the trail cams and stuff too, right? Like if you just leave cameras around.
Because we left trail cams around the trailer where they're just nuts, and we could hear them all night. And we're like, oh, it's got to be good. And then we pull out the trail cam, and it's just, there's nothing on it. It goes off, and then the Sasquatch is gone. And there's footage of a tree, right? There's nothing there. But, like, they can definitely sense that stuff. They're not stupid. Yeah. I think they're way more intelligent than us. You know, like, we're like, oh, and they can hear better and see better, right? But, you know, we hear a stick break, and it's probably, like, so far away that it's actually breaking, right? Because they're so strong. Yeah. Same thing with vision. Like the fact that
guy's up in a tree, looking at you from so far away, right?
That I seen at nighttime, and then when I seen it in the morning, I'm like, that is so far away. And then when we went, like, it's across a whole river, you know, a creek bed river. So it's like we go over there, and it's like, holy, like, these guys they can see that far, like. To look in a monocular to see that far. Yeah. So that's pretty intense.
So do you think there's an interdimensional like aspect to them possibly, or like what about portals and like them shifting in and out, or like have you guys explored I've heard about those kind of things?
Don't know how detailed to get some of this stuff, but I do believe in the portals. Yeah. I mean, if you watch some of the Gaia videos, humans are using portals to go into the inner earth or to transport to other places. I mean, if you're that spiritual,
who knows?
Why are the Sasquatch not using that, right? Yeah.
So I want to meditate to the point I can teleport. Teleporting could come in handy, I'm telling you.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is, you know, well, yeah, I think so. I think that they can do it, but yeah.
But it sounds like there's a message of like healing and love overall, though, right?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, they really see what's going on. They know what's going on in their planet. The vibration is not very high right now in the earth, and there's a lot of fighting. There's a lot of, I mean, wars with our people and this and fighting and power, wars over power and money, and they're not stupid. Yeah. They know what's going on. Apparently they've been here longer than we've been here. Yeah. They've survived some of the things that's happened in previous lifetimes. They know what's coming. So they just I think they're trying to heal and teach us to help the vibration of our planet. So
you think, like, how much do you think your 13 years in like fitness, like hardcore fitness, right? Not just like all the self-discipline, all the health and wellness that you were exposed to. Like, do you think, I feel like that might have like primed you for this or brought you to a new perspective? I mean, like just to be healthy, like physically, like that also, I think helps with,
it does.
I mean,
like,
especially when
definitely with mindset. And if nothing else, like doing all that exercise every day quiets your mind, or just the same as meditating. Or
well, the biggest thing is there's a few different worlds in the fitness industry. It's it can be very materialistic,
right?
And it can also be like you really want to get to the bottom of health and wellness. I've always coached my mind to be pretty, I'm pretty spiritual. I've always been pretty spiritual. I've always done healing. I've always done Reiki. I have a shaman instructor. I have a life coach. I have coaches all over that help me with some of the stuff I work on just to be healthy.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's led me to this, is that part of my health and fitness.
Right.
I have my shaman I'm going to see on Sunday with my son. So she's actually helped me with a lot of the communication gaps that I'm not getting with the Sasquatch that I'm trying to get.
Yeah.
I feel like there's supposed to be something I do that helps the planet on the road I'm going now. I mean, you have to be physically fit is one thing, yes, but I mean mentally and spiritually, I think is a whole other thing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But there's that whole crossover, like we talked about before we started recording too, like so many of the things that we talk about on this show, and like whether it's like Sasquatch or spirituality or health and fitness and all, there's a lot of overlaps in the what we have to discern as being helpful or healthy, like being in the fitness industry too, and just having to realize like there's all these chemicals out there and bad foods and like you know, like medication or what, like all these things that
and I'm also very holistic. I don't really believe in the Western medicine. I only do like herbs, and I only do like CBDs and stuff. Like I only take vitamins I need to take when I know the vitamins to take when I need to take them.
Yeah. Was that hard though, being in that materialistic fitness industry to go hard. Like I could see how there would be a couple different paths, right?
Yeah, it is really hard to be in that world. I actually tried to deviate myself away from some of the materialistic
influence.
Influence, and just kind of do my own thing and be my own person. I mean, I always say there's never any right or wrong with fitness. It's just what works for that person. Yeah. I always try and also coach my clients that, because a lot of people are saying this is right, this is wrong, this is right with different coaches. And it's just ridiculous.
And how do you even keep up on the science behind it, right?
I think it's ridiculous because every body's different, every person's different, every illness is different, every whatever Yeah. So I just think that the biggest thing I tell my clients is to keep things simple, right? Exercise, it doesn't have to be going to the gym. It could be outside hiking, it could be joining sports. Eat healthy. Don't go on a diet. Just eat healthy, eat clean, eat vegetables, eat proteins, eat, it doesn't have to be meat if you don't want it to be meat. Like, just like everyone's going to have their different opinions, but just keep things simple, right? Like, you go to the grocery store, it's overwhelming to go grocery shopping because our grocery stores are like a shopping mall.
Well, you got to stay away from the whole center section of the thing.
Exactly. And then, when I go to the mountains, it's like I could survive in the mountain without having to go to a grocery store. I could eat berries, I could eat the fish. And like this is limited. But people are like, "Oh, we don't have enough food out here." We have tons of food. Like,
plus, do we need like
you know what I mean?
Do you even need that much? Like 3 meals a day? Even I mean, like, isn't there like the intermittent fasting and the snake diet or all these things where people are just eating like one meal a day, just one big meal a day? Like,
I'm all over the 1 meal a day. The problem is then I get into the grazing till like bedtime, and that's not a good habit.
Well, that's not the point. Is you're just defeating the whole purpose of that intermittent fast, so you don't trigger your body by snacking on little things or
Well, really, if you guys think about it, like the Sasquatch can weigh over 1,000 pounds, and these are big guys. Right?
Are they herbivores?
We predict they eat a lot of leaves, vegetables, berries, rabbits, deers, elk.
So they do eat different. They do eat rabbits. Yeah.
We actually think they
deer.
herd.
You said deer after rabbit.
Deer,
okay.
We actually think they herd their own deer around the mountains too.
Wow, really?
I seen a video of a rabbit eating a rabbit, and that shit ruined my whole paradigm.
Oh my god.
It was just awful. But you know, when I was a paperboy back in the day,
Yeah.
this was like back
I've
whenever
never heard a paperboy story from you.
I was an excellent
I
paperboy.
never knew you were a
You know,
paperboy.
Between me and my cousin, God rest his soul, we had the whole town. So I had like the one half of the town and he had the other half of the town, which is okay till one of us went on vacation and then the other guy had to cover for him. So now you got to deliver the papers to the whole fucking town. Anyway, this is back in the day when everyone had the tube televisions.
Oh,
And I used to always be able to tell if the TV was on when I was walking up to these houses because there was this weird, like, high-pitched sort of humming sound. And I remember, like, even asking my friends, I was like, I can hear the TV. And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? But I could always just, like, feel this. I could tell if the TV, and every fucking time I'd go downstairs and the TV would be on.
Wow.
Or wherever I was, the TV would be on. And it's like this, and I could always sort of, I can't do it anymore in the new TVs. But
Well,
No,
maybe because
yeah.
you're also just surrounded by it
it's
constantly.
the weed.
I
Maybe
mean,
it's the weed
maybe
too,
it's the
right?
weed
You like
dulling your
playing with the
senses.
weed.
You're dulling your senses.
See,
I
that's
cut back quite a
just
bit after
like
the
listening to your
DMT.
intuitions more, right? Like as a kid, I think children are more intuitive than adults.
Oh yeah.
I think it's
Like-
the voice in the head,
Yeah.
which is the ego, just comes in and
Yeah.
steamrolls fucking everything.
That's exactly what I think that's where like we were talking about the Sasquatch have those scary dreams and they try and chase your ego away to be able to start teaching you. Right?
So we should do
Like,
some DMT sessions up on the mountain and see what happens, because then there'll be no egos around.
There you go. You'll be scared half to death
Oof.
when one pops up in your
Wow, the Sasquatch just show up. They're like, we've been waiting. You guys are cool.
yeah.
That's it. The Bob Marley comes on.
Yeah.
Maybe not Bob Marley. Have you
Well,
noticed?
maybe they'll sense your change, your shift in the attitudes of shooting. You know, like actually, you did change recently.
I said I
You
don't
just
want to
said-
shoot Sasquatch anymore.
Wow. And when did that
you
change?
you would never win in that
I
battle.
just, it doesn't seem like the right thing to do.
Wow. Like this is a
Yeah.
this is a
If
big
I was gonna
fucking
eat,
sea change
if
on
I
a
was gonna eat
podcast. I mean,
Sasquatch,
we can't even.
then maybe I could shoot it. But I'm not gonna eat a Sasquatch.
Oh
So
my
I'll shoot a
God.
deer or something that I'm gonna eat because I think that's okay.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather do that than eat cows. But I don't think I could just shoot a Sasquatch anymore.
was that from the DMT experience that changed, or when did that change?
I think it's just more of the whole love thing in general. You know, I can't preach that and want to shoot a Bigfoot. It doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem authentic.
Yeah.
I don't
Good
know if
for
I
you.
ever wanted to shoot the Bigfoot. I
Good
might
for
have just
you.
been posturing.
You might have just be going opposite to me
Yeah,
as usual.
Just fucking.
Yeah.
Just fucking with me.
Yeah.
They're really fast. You wouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
The time you get your gun out, you'll be gone.
Yeah.
You have to have it out all the time.
People don't understand that how
Yeah.
fast they are. Like they're like a speed of light.
So I wonder if I get to see a Bigfoot now, because I'm on the record saying I'm going to shoot a Bigfoot like hundreds of times.
They're just gonna
So
come banging on your
yeah,
bedroom
they're like,
window.
is this
No, they know your
They know?
vibration has changed. We all have our signature vibration that's
Do they?
changed. You're more in the love vibration now. See, that's what they're trying to do, get your vibration up.
all right? I can dig it.
There
Watch,
you
she has a
go.
nightmare tonight.
Maybe it's
Yeah, exactly.
my first dream in 3 years is just a terrible nightmare. Bunch of Bigfoots dragging me off to a cave.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, now I'm wondering if the Bigfoots are who gave us the plant medicine.
Well, maybe, eh? Maybe they're I mean, there is world, like they're all over the world, right?
Maybe
I mean,
they're the
all
shamans.
They're all
over,
over
like
the
these,
world.
you know,
They're
in
all
every
over the world.
culture.
They're just different sizes and colors, just
Yeah.
like
Just
our
like
races,
people.
just like
Yeah.
our races, yeah.
There's no such thing as race
But
or
more
gender.
so their climate,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
They
yeah.
adopt their climate,
Yeah.
like the rocks, the trees, because
Yeah.
they camouflage.
The snow,
This
Yeah.
the
one's-
Yeti, yeah.
we have a pet Yeti.
Yeah. My son actually had 2 dreams about there's a gray Sasquatch. We think it's a spiritual old one up in the mountains.
Wow.
And so that one actually reminds me
There you
of
go,
that.
yeah.
So, but he's quite connected with them as well.
Wow.
Just through me. And he's been out there a few times.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's been eventful.
So, what do you want to talk about? Any? We've talked about.
you done for the year now?
health and-
Are you going
Done
to
for
go in
the
the
year?
winter?
I'd like to go up again, but it's like an hour back there, so the weather has to be good. The roads are rough.
yeah.
I've literally got so many flat tires going up there.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I used my mom's truck the last time and it was brutal. Yeah. You have to have good tires.
You get hit with a lot of rocks too. The windshield.
Yeah.
I got a
Rocks.
massive
And I
hole
think
in
the
it.
pressure going up there because the altitude is so high. It's just, I don't know. Like, it's different.
When I was on my way
You gotta
back
make
from
sure that you got good tires.
Yeah.
ooh, the altitude.
The
Yeah.
altitude.
That's
because-
another reason you would be in good shape.
Yeah, the altitude. It's amazing. You feel so cleansed. Like when you come down, you really realize the city, like just, really weighs down on you after a while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
City.
What were you saying?
Caught in
about
the grip of the city. I forget what I was going to say. What did I say? What did I start with?
I can't remember.
I don't think it wasn't important. Did they ever throw rocks at you? I always hear
No.
about the rock throwing.
Yeah, there's a lot of rocks on.
There's funny. They are pretty funny. Like I don't know. I'm sure if you guys have heard, they're kind of tricksters and they're they get pretty crazy. They throw a lot of things to like wake me up when I'm sleeping at the trailer. Tree branches, acorns. They tap the side of the trailer a lot. The whole back of the trailer is dented, like little dents from them throwing acorns, or
Wow.
what do you call it, pine cones. And I found a little pile one day of like just little tiny broken tree branches, and I'm like, what is that?
That's
sound?
like a pile of ammo there.
Throwing
They've gathered it all there.
because they try and keep me awake at night because they're just wild beings, right? They're nocturnal, and
Oh, so you figure they sleep through the day, probably then?
yeah,
Oh.
yeah, they're up at nighttime.
Oh.
Yeah, they've
Like
their
teenagers.
eyes. Their
I
eyes
don't
also
think I ever realized that.
glow. I'm sure
Yeah.
you know that, right?
Yeah.
Their eyes glow.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I eventually worked it up to, I was always been by the fire and having them come by the fire, sit, in the trees, but they're around me, to going out to the woods, dark at night. That's what I did that last expedition.
Oh,
And sitting with them, and having them
Wow.
come to me,
wow.
so I could have them, because the fire was the barrier between us.
Right. Yeah.
So that was the next thing I did, and that was really interesting.
Tell us about that.
That was like actually incredible. So I spoke with my
Because it was kind of
shaman,
cold too, though, at that point.
and it wasn't too
It
bad.
wasn't too bad.
I
Okay.
just dressed in some layers,
Yeah,
and
I
I brought a blanket out,
Yeah.
and I sat kind of closer to the river because it's a little brighter by the river, the
Yeah.
opening there. So
Was it full moon?
That week was not a full moon. I've been out there a lot for the full moons, just randomly, and they are wild in the full moons.
A little
Yeah,
easier
yeah.
to see.
And here
Yeah.
you can hear them running along the tree lines. And but anyways, I sat out there and shut off my flashlight, and you can hear them just running up real close along the riverbed. They run that path a lot, so they were running down and slowly coming up. I put
You're by yourself?
I was by myself.
Jesus
Holy.
Christ.
Yeah. I'm not really afraid of them at this point, though, right? I've
You're
built
still in
that-
the woods in the dark. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just as scared of the woods
I'm
in the dark.
I'm more afraid of like a bear or
Yeah.
a mountain lion coming
Yeah.
out. So I was always
Yeah.
with that. But when you can hear the Sasquatch, you feel safe. It's when you can't hear them that I feel a little nervous.
Yeah.
So I was out there and turned off my flashlight. And I also, something I've been doing for them is giving them gifts. And so we come to your land, we bring gifts, kind of like the old native.
Tobacco, bring tobacco.
Bring tobacco,
Yeah.
bring food, we trade something. So I bring them, they really like walnut chocolate.
Wow.
So I bring them little 6 pieces and they would be gone. So they take them everywhere. So what I did was I set up kind of a ritual circle of them around my blanket with 6 spots because I predict there's 6 of them around me at nighttime. And set up I did napkins, set up almonds because they really like nuts, and then a walnut chocolate piece each. And I sat there.
How far away were those pieces?
And they were like right
From
off
you?
my blanket. So I had a big blanket
yeah.
just right off
So
there,
pretty
right?
close. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would go there, I would kind of talk to them and say,
Out loud,
my
right?
first one was like who I was. I'm sure they know who I am. However, just like now we're directly having that connection and conversation, talking to them. And then I can hear them all running down from the tree line, right? However, I couldn't see them. So it was really weird because I did go really quiet all of a sudden. So it went from, like, these guys sound like elephants when they run. I just want to make that clear. They're very loud when they run. So when they're coming down, all of a sudden it's like quiet. And I'm kind of getting freaked out. Like, okay, like, are they just like going to pop out of somewhere and like, you know what I mean? It's just so quiet. I can't hear them walking. I can't hear them running or anything, moving in the rocks. Can't hear the rocks anymore. And then all of a sudden I just like could see like, it's kind of weird, but I could see like a invisible silhouette kind of like walking in front of me.
Like the Predator thing?
Yeah.
In a way?
It's like
that.
so weird. And I'm like, okay, like, am I starting to get too much fresh air out here? Right? So I leave my blanket because I'm kind of weirded out by this. I go back to the fire. I tell Daniel what I seen. He's like, I've heard that. I've heard that people can see this. I didn't know this.
They're like cloaked or something like that.
Yeah, cloaked. I didn't know this. Okay. So I'm like, this is weird. And I'm like, you're going to think I'm crazy when I tell you this. He says, no, that's like happened. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, I'm going to wait. It was freezing this one night. And so I waited by the fire a bit, warmed up, went back out. I looked on the napkins. There was some of the chocolates and almonds were missing from 3 or 4 of them. And then the other ones weren't touched yet. So I was like, okay, they're here. Okay. So this is saying I'm marking
some of them are here.
They're here. Yeah. So then I started saying, I was, getting a little braver, saying like, come out and sit. I want you guys to come out and sit around your spots, kind of like a circle. Because they'd sit by me by the fire in a circle. So then I'm telling them to sit out in the woods with me, right? And I have a gift for you. So I see these silhouettes. Like I literally can see them.
That invisible silhouette again? Almost
but
like
I can see now numerous
it was like a hazy kind of like
it's like when you watch the Harry Potter movie where you can see like a little blur.
Okay.
It's like that, but it's white. It's like lighter. It's like a white color.
Okay.
It's light. And then I could see branches kind of whipping, like just random branches, like if they hit a tree, and right in front of me a rock flipped. There was nothing there. I'm like, this is just getting weird. So I'm like, okay, this is crazy. So anyways, this happened. I left and went back 3 times. And the 3rd time I went back, everything was gone off the napkins.
Wow.
Okay. So whatever was out there, Sasquatch, was eating off these napkins.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was like, okay, this is crazy. But it wasn't like Daniel came out with me the next night. And the next night I'm like, I want you to witness this and see what you see, because this is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Right. So then the next night he came out there and he's like, that was crazy. We sat down the first time and went earlier and we saw 3 running in the trees.
All predator style?
All predator style.
Nice.
Yeah. And it was like, I'm like, tell me you can see that. Right. He's like 1, 2, 3 running in the trees.
Wow.
So yeah, they can.
So when you asked them to come and sit with you, they didn't actually get to the point where they sat with the napkin, but they were around the, they were coming in close, but not necessarily like sitting right there. Yeah.
They were. So we could see them walking, and some would walk, some would sit. But then one came in physical form right there by the tree.
Wow.
And Daniel was so freaked out. He's like, this looks like a freaking Halloween costume staring at us. Like he got so weirded out we had to like leave the trees. It was like dark. They're so dark, right? The dark with the green eyes, and he was peeping around the tree, and I was telling him to come out from the tree because I just like want to see one physically. Like I've seen one physically, but like I want him to come like touch my arm and like
interact almost.
Right? Because this has been going on. So Daniel freaks out. He's like, this is just weird. It's like something out of a Halloween horror movie. Like, but they say that people are so scared of the way they look, and that's why I think they go in all these other forms, right? Like, or this visible form, or they hide in the trees. They keep their distance. They bang on the trailer where you can't see them, and then they run and hide, right? Because it's a form of communication, but then you don't directly see them. Yeah. Because they're scary, right? They're scary. Like, I was like, holy man, like this thing peeping out. He had this fluffy cheeks and like, you could see him. Yeah. But then when we went out the 3rd time, it was like in his visible, we couldn't see anything.
There was nothing.
No.
Yeah. Weird.
But you can see like if the trees are kind of hollow, they start to fill in, which is kind of sounds weird, but like you can't just see through the trees like you could. It's like something's
blocking it.
It's kind of hard to explain.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then everything would be picked off the napkins, but I would usually put 3 things on the napkin, like almonds, mixed nuts, and then like a chocolate. and they would always eat the chocolate first. We did this for 7 days. So they'd always eat the chocolate first, and then they would eat the nuts, and then I would come back the third time, and by the third time, everything was gone.
Wow.
So they'd pick like they were sitting like with you eating. You know, it was really weird. But they wouldn't eat in front of us. Like we couldn't sit there and see. You know what I mean?
See them see the food like literally disappear.
Disappear.
Yeah.
So I got told to do that from my shaman, and it was incredible.
Yeah.
So that was interesting because we're like, if it was an animal coming up, it would eat everything. It would just eat the napkins, I'm sure too.
Yeah.
Right. So that was really interesting, and it was, I think, the reason why that one came in its physical form was to show that we are here.
Yeah.
Right. And then like the whipping of the trees, that tree when it whipped, it scared me. I almost jumped up and ran out. Like it was. And
How far away was the physical one with the green eyes?
it was like from here to that Jersey right there.
Oh, wow.
Like it was right there. And it was the smaller one, like the skinny one that I've seen. I think it was Chester.
That was Chester, yeah.
Yeah. He was slender. I've seen him in the broad daylight too, like quite close, crossing a riverbank. Me and Daniel seen him, I think, 3 days before that. You know, he was trying to sneak under the creek, under a tree. And I just looked and I just seen his back, his hairy, light brown, red back, and
Wow.
scurrying out. And I was like, oh my God, it's like right there.
So what do you plan to do next year with this? And I mean, if you've got, you must be kind of excited to go back and continue this a little bit. Like if you've got that spot,
you
and
guys
got to
bring some psychedelics out there. I'm telling you.
No,
I mean,
think
how can we be sure?
Why would you even want to do anything different than what she's doing? Because she's already built the rapport.
Yeah.
Like I just heard somebody talking about Sasquatch, like staying in the same location is very important in a way. Like people keep moving around and expecting to.
I think they move around too.
Yeah,
like
they'll find
go
you
wherever
there.
you
Well, that's
are.
what the
keep going
Indians
there,
did. That's
like-
what we used to do, right? It gets hot, we head south, or cold, we
Yeah.
head south. That's why we just had the teepees, man. Throw
Yeah.
that shit on your shoulder. Away you go. Chase the weather.
Exactly.
How can we be sure it's not just Justin Trudeau in another one of his disguises?
Oh dear.
That one was from the chats. I couldn't,
Yeah.
I couldn't resist.
And then someone actually said, like, how do you know it's not? Oh, my mom said that. How do you know it's not someone running around in a suit in the woods? I'm like, well, that's a pretty far-fetched thing.
That should be documented too.
Yeah, some people think
Right?
that. They think that.
Oh my
people
God,
are-
these guys are so fast. Like, you know what I mean? There's a human would trip over the toes of a costume, be on their face or something. Like these guys, I can't explain how fast they are. Like during the day when we were hiking once, we were waiting for. So this is when we went on expedition with Todd and Qatar. We were waiting for them, me and Daniel at the bottom, and we were like, "Oh look, there they are!" One Sasquatch runs, the other one runs, and we're like, "Whoa, where did they?" That is not a human, whatever that was.
Yeah.
Like they're so fast. Like the time that a person would start running, the Sasquatch would already be like so many meters ahead of them, like just boom. And we're like, whoa. I said to Daniel, did you see that? Did you see that? And then he ran back for the third time, the one. It's like, holy crap. And they were following Todd down. Todd was there.
Oh, interesting.
Right? They were following him down. So I was like,
so are you going to do more expeditions in the summer then, like next spring and summer, or
yeah, I'll do.
and
I'll
people
do
can
some,
go
yeah.
with you? Like, are you opening it? You open it up to people? And
I'll it's different up there, right? Like it takes a special person to be up there. I mean, it's like no service. You're eating, we prep stews and stuff like that to cook by the fire and certain meals, and we drink river water, and we don't use any electricity other than fire up there.
Yeah.
And flashlights. But I mean, the hiking's pretty crazy. The wildlife's crazy. Like we had a bear come around our site to actually one night. Todd had to really shoo him away, right? So like you have to be pretty have a lot of guts to be up there.
Yeah.
So it just kind of depends. I mean, and then you mix in Sasquatch into it.
Yeah. Well, we definitely had people that
So-
were interested when I posted it last time. Just nobody could go at the last minute like that.
Yeah,
but,
it was
that
it
might
was really
be,
last minute. Yeah. And that expedition kind of was because Daniel wanted to go out, and we kind of just had a trailer and ready to go, and
We were gonna
it was
go. Was that the one you told us about?
Yeah.
I had to pick up my kids at 8 a.m. the next day, so I was like,
Oh,
"Ooh, that's
no.
a haul back from radio."
I was even thinking
Yeah,
like we could go for the weekend, maybe like not the full week.
that
was
weekend,
actually- so-
weekend was terrible weather.
Yeah,
Like
that's right.
Like
It
we
was-
didn't get the bad weather as they did down below. However, it was still cold.
Yeah.
And then we started a lot of our research on Sunday night. Like we had fires every night. We could actually have fires every night up there, which was crazy. But our research really started on that Monday, like, you know, and then I just continued. I actually stayed an extra weekend, so I was out there for 10 days. Yeah, just because I was having a lot of success with what was going on.
Oh, yeah. Well, you wouldn't want to leave. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what about any documentaries coming out or anything like that? Of Todd's or anything like that?
Todd's working on Discovering Bigfoot 2.
Right.
So the Discovering Bigfoot 2, he's been working on for quite a while now. I think over a year, year and a half. He's got lots of good pieces in there. So it's just an ongoing thing for him. Yeah.
What's your goal like for yourself and like, do you feel like the need to bring actual evidence to people? So many people still disbelieve, and there's so many people that do believe. There's a real polarization, but do you care about that even, like pictures and videos?
Like at the beginning, I was unsure anything about the Sasquatch, and now I feel like they need to be just left alone. I feel very strongly about that.
So you don't really care about bringing evidence to people necessarily. No, it's like whatever you can interact them on your own, but to try and like just leave.
I think as soon
leave them alone as far as that goes.
Yeah, but I think they want to be left alone. I think that's why they're not around cameras and people with cameras. Todd has had a lot of rocks thrown at him from the Sasquatch, right? Because he does a lot of documenting with them. So I think that there's a relationship barrier there with those two, because he wants to protect them, but he also wants to reveal them. I think the Sasquatch don't want that. So there's kind of a gray area there, and I mean the media wants to know if they exist or not, and I just don't think it's important that we reveal them. You know, I think it's good that the public doesn't know that they are real or not real.
That's interesting.
It's left to be a mystery, and I think that's
for people that really want to know, they can find out themselves, or if not, then whatever. Like you don't have to force the belief down anybody.
Exactly. Like when we did that Mysteries Decoded episode, I think it was good, really well done, because there was, you know, is it real? Is it not real? Right. So it's kind of left a mystery. Yeah. I thought that was actually really good, the way that Star Entertainment did that episode. With we had lots of, trackers in it. We had, Todd in it. We had doctors in it, and we had specialists, park specialists. Like we had lots of opinions. So it's like, I think that's just how it should be left with them.
Similar to when we go out looking for UFOs, we do the CE5 thing where we meditate and we see flash bulbs, we see craft flying through, but we don't, I'm not out there trying to capture it on camera because I don't want to ruin my experience with it, but also because you can't. What's it going to prove? Somebody can go, oh, it's just, you can't prove a photo or a video is real. You can only prove it's fake. So somebody will just say, oh, it's just unknown or whatever. Yeah. And all you're going to see is this little light in the camera. And it's not going to. So maybe they're even interacting more because we're not trying to video that. I mean, that's interesting to think about.
As soon as I put the camera down, I stopped trying to, get footage. Is when the relationship really took off. Wow. So I just feel very strongly about, life's about experiences. It's not really about documenting. Yeah. Right? Like it is like, I don't really care if people believe me or they don't believe me. Exactly. Right? Like I know what's real. I know I'm experiencing life to a whole new limit. Yeah. Whole new limit. And there's a lot. We live in a planet with so much unknown. Like there's so much unknown. And it's like, I think that's the beautiful thing about planet Earth is, it's this never-ending place of learning, right? And everyone has all kinds of different experiences here. But, I mean, get off the grid a little, get out of the city, and really start to live.
What do your fitness people think about that?
Oh, my gosh. I'm sure they fucking think it's just wild. Yeah. What is this girl doing? Sasquatch. Yeah. Right? This girl's going crazy from her divorce.
That'll happen.
She's really finding herself.
Yeah, she's really finding herself out with the wild men out there.
I went the psychedelic route. Psychedelics, Bigfoot, whatever works.
Yeah.
It's all better than like a slow devolvement into alcoholism or something like that, right?
Yeah.
That's
and
what
it's like
some people choose.
Well, you're more grounded. You're learning. There's different dimensions out there. Yeah. Right? So whatever can open your mind up to it, like.
Yeah, definitely.
Careful what you wish for, though. Sasquatch might appear.
Or drag you off to a cave.
Drag you off to a cave, yeah.
Well, when they rescue you, we'll do another show.
Yeah.
and talk about the
Yeah,
practice.
yeah, we should
Yeah.
get you back again for sure. I mean, I didn't realize it's so fresh and it's
Yeah.
you're so new to this whole thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
like next spring or whenever you come back, and we'll
Yeah.
catch up with where you're at with everything.
Yeah.
and, yeah,
It'll be next
for
summer for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it'll be interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right on. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap it up?
I don't really think so. No.
Social media or website URLs or anything like that? Most people don't look in the show notes, so it's always better to say it. Don't tell Graham. We found out recently
I'm doing my following. My following is mostly fitness, but I'm starting to gear towards my own media and production stuff.
Right.
Some projects that I'm working on too, but mine's just my website's veenstarfitness.com, www.
Veenstra fitness.com.
Yeah, Veenstar. And then I
AR,
got
AR.
AR.
Is it Veenstar or Veenstra?
Veenstar.
Yeah. Okay.
Veenstar.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And then I have just my Instagram.
No.
I'm more
that-
active.
her name-
okay.
her name's-
Okay. Sorry, I
Your
thought I
name's
spelled your name.
Veenstra, right? But your
Yeah,
thing's
I changed-
Veenstar, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I changed it around.
I
So
thought I messed up your name, and I was just
Oh,
figuring
no.
it out at the end of the show.
No.
No. My dad actually started a company, and he liked Veenstar,
Yeah.
and so I've kind of stolen
Oh,
it
cool.
from him
Oh,
too.
that's hilarious.
So it's all good.
People are gonna search. You're gonna ruin his SEO.
Yeah, I know. So I'm like, I'm gonna.
Well, these Bigfoot
cut
people
this-
showing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So sorry, what were you saying
So-
when we interrupted you there? Your Instagram
Just my
or something like
Instagram's Veenstar1.
that? Okay.
Veenstar1, yeah.
Okay.
And but yeah, I'm kind of working up some projects, some production people in Vancouver, and just into regards to some work that I'm doing, and yeah, it's
Can
gonna
you talk about it or?
I'm going to it's gonna be more fitness related. It's a TV show. We're gonna kind of it's kind of balancing fitness, kind of our I guess healthy lifestyle, what we were kind of discussing earlier. So we're gonna do 5 topics. It's gonna be eating, like nutrition.
Yeah.
It's gonna be spiritualism, relationship, outdoors, and exercise.
Wow.
So
that
we want
sounds
to,
awesome.
yeah. So we I'm known in the fitness industry. However, it's like, how can you be healthy nowadays with the society that we have?
Yeah.
And we're actually going to travel and kind of touch base on the 5 topics. Everywhere in the world is different, right? Like some are geared more towards spiritualism before exercise and nutrition, right?
Yeah.
And others are vice versa, like us. Like, I mean, we eat terribly here, and our spiritualism's like not even existent. So we're gonna go interview people and put together, knowledge on all those 5 topics, and it's kind of
Wow, that sounds fantastic.
yeah.
Like a lot of the stuff we talk about here. We've had some of the relationship experts on the show as well, and of course spiritualism, and
because
I mean it's all important,
relationships
right?
I think is our first thing that we focus on here over everything. So
That's like my thing.
yeah.
The way I look at it is the whole world is based upon one-on-one relationships.
Yeah.
So we should probably figure that shit out
Exactly.
before we kill each other.
I know, and it's getting to be a little bit just crazy, social media and everything. So we just want to have an open mind to it, and maybe people like you can have people that are talking and colliding, and if someone's depressed, for instance, or from something they're going through, we have a TV show, we have psychologists, or ways that you can deal with depression. It might be an outlet for somebody, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's kind of the main focus, and then to start traveling would be kind of cool, to doing that into other countries. The biggest thing is, like I was mentioning, is increasing our positive energy and love in the world.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
We need more of that.
If I had $1 for every show that ended like that, I'd have like $50.
Yeah.
Which
At
isn't
least,
bad out of
at
400,
least,
right?
at
That's
least.
like,
No, it's probably more like it's 40%, I'd say now.
you think it's that many?
Yeah, it all comes back to love. We talk about it all
It's
the
a
time.
couple of fucking
Yeah.
hippies.
It's like we
Yeah.
just sacrifice too much for it, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm just gonna keep it simple. Like being
Yeah.
up in the mountaintops really opens your eyes up
Yeah, fantastic.
to like what what life has become.
Yeah.
Because I go back down into civilization, and it's like, we don't really need phones, we don't need this, we don't need that, but your society kind of
Yeah.
sucks you back into
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah, you have to.
It's a
yeah.
whirlwind.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, just keep things simple is the underlining answer to that.
Well, let us know when.
Okay,
let us
that's
know
the
when that
Michael
comes
Scott
out.
thing.
Keep it simple, stupid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah. But let us know when that comes out, and we'll talk about it on the show. We'll pump it or push it out for you or
Sure,
whatever.
yeah.
And yeah, for sure. We can even have you on for a little intro to describe it or whatever.
Yeah,
like, yeah.
because we're planning to get it
Yeah.
going. I think next week I'm going to be in Vancouver.
Wow, good.
And we're going from there. Hopefully, we want the first episode going by January,
Wow, that's great.
the new year. And then from there, we're going to travel.
What's it called again? Do you
We
have a
don't-
name
we
or you're
don't
not
have
sure?
it-
Yeah.
Not yet.
Okay.
We have a few names in mind,
Yeah,
but we'll
yeah.
have to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it'll be really good once we get it moving. I think it'll help a lot of people, and then the direction that we want it to go.
Awesome.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's how you
Yeah.
make the world a better place.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Better humans.
Yeah.
Then you get a better government, and then Graham's happy because we have jobs.
Yeah.
So I guess that's as good a spot to wrap it
Yeah,
up.
thanks a
think
lot.
so.
Yeah,
I
it was
think
so,
fantastic.
too.
Great
Big
chat.
thanks
yeah.
for coming on the show,
Yeah,
Ashley.
thanks for having me.
Big thanks for coughing. Big thanks to all the smart asses in the chat room with their smart ass comments. I will say that we did get more super chats than normal, and I only had to mute one person.
Oh, wow.
So that's a good week. The stream went out without a hitch, so that's good news too. Grimerica.ca/support. If you guys want to support the show, if you enjoy what we're doing here and you find you're getting a little value from the 390 episodes we provided to you for free without any commercials, head to Grimerica.ca/support. Sign up for a monthly today. Check out the show notes so that Graham doesn't do the show notes for nothing. He's feeling a little down on the show notes, so let's perk him back up. Hit those show notes, do all the links, review the show, do all that great stuff. Other than that, thanks for listening. Have some good vibes for your weekend, and we'll see you next week. We're still live. So, bye. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. And